Good morning, evening, afternoon, everybody out there. Appreciate you joining me. Having a little bit of technical issues here. I want to say hello to Danny and Stacy coming out early on the chat. I will not be streaming on Get Haunted today, just some technical issues there. We are, however, streaming at Facebook, Get Moderated, as well as YouTube and the Warner Paranormal Preservation Society. Hello, Danny. How are you? I have a couple of exciting things I want to go over before I get started tonight. As many of you know, we have the East Coast Para Expo coming up. That is Warner Paranormal's East Coast get together. We have our tickets live at warnerparanormal.com/store, as well as www.eastcoastparaexpo.com. You can check us out there. I'll put a link in the there right now because I am super professional and I thought of all of this beforehand because I have my act together. You can check that out right there. Just went ahead and sent that link out to everybody. You can click that. We have our early bird admissions. We have our dual medium tickets. We have our standard admissions, as well as our strictly duo medium gallery. As you can check it out on the East Coast Paracon, we are trying to open up the paranormal world to those that typically don't have access and usually don't have that stage. So you're not going to see any huge names there. Hey, honey, how are you? Kimberly checking in. You're not going to see any massive names. You're going to see some old tried and true names of absolutely phenomenal people that are in the field doing the work, really putting in the effort and really perfecting their craft. We got Scott Allen and Christopher Brown coming out for that mediumship gallery. That is a VIP event, so you can go ahead and get your tickets now. We also have Exploring with Phil and Banter with Richie B coming in to talk some Sam Squanch. Bigfoot, King of the Bridgewater Triangles, the name of their lecture. We have another one. We have Respecting the Spirits in the Paranormal World, A Witch's Perspective, with Chris Gerke, June Jennings, and V. Voorhees. I struggle with that one every time I've said it to myself. Definitely worth coming out, checking out. We got some photos of previous events. We had actually last year was our opportunity to meet Rob and Sarah over at Get Haunted and have a panel. And that's where I picked up the handle Get Moderated, the moderator. So definitely come check us out. It's a great time. We got tons of events. We have tons of lectures coming out. We also have 20 different vendors that are going to be coming out and providing you with the latest and greatest of their crafts and trades. It's absolutely a phenomenal event. It is held at Hartsuff Hall over in Rockland. And we definitely look forward to seeing you there. You're going to see myself. You're going to see Russell Stiver from Compass of Curiosities, Matt Warner from Unpopular Opinion, Julie, whose last name I have given up entirely trying to say, who hosts our mediumships every month. We have that event that we do quite frequently over at the hall. And so, guys, definitely come check it out. It's going to be worth your trip. It's going to be worth the time. We are a one-day event, so we aren't expecting to take your entire weekend. We are just looking to really share the community a little bit more with everybody out there. I will have Russ Stiver join in later today to talk a little bit about what he's doing, some of the things that's going on with Compass of Curiosities. We're very excited to see some new things coming out there and some appearances for him on the South Shore and in New England. So we're going to have him pop on as a member of the society. I definitely want to give space to those. So tonight, I really just wanted to talk a little bit about a few of the topics that I've gone over so far. We've talked about the individual's ability to influence the universe through some of the different CIA experiments that have been taking place since the late 50s. We've talked about the idea of the universe being a receptor for a lot of our spiritual, mental, and emotional energies. And if none of you are surprised, my lack of acceptance or tolerance for some of the bullshit that we see in the field and in our lives on an everyday basis. And Danny, I just want to let you know, representing here. So I wanted to put this all put together in kind of a neat package because I'm going off the rails a little bit tonight. As normal, My plans for what this show is going to be tonight fell apart last minute, so it's going to be another ad lib, another off the cuff kind of episode. And so I just want to let you guys know that this is something that actually I think is a really important topic. I've talked about how I believe the energies that we have going into an investigation or a haunted place will directly impact the experience that we have there and the kind of energy that we're going to take away and we're going to leave with. So my concept for tonight is to talk a little bit about how that's going to impact our day to day, right? And so while we go through and we're dealing with a lot of the negativity that just is a part of life, having a consistent sense of self is, to me, one of the really, really major things that has carried me through. For those of you who've met me in person, I am very unapologetically me. Good, bad, or indifferent. One of my favorite phrases. I got two catchphrases that I use pretty often. Easy to like, hard to love, and I let my confidence catch up to my arrogance. And those are two things that I really do. Oh, hey, Russ, how we doing? Are we all right? So I got a backstage person here. He's got his headphones on. It looks like he might be ready to come up. If I get the thumbs up, I'm bringing him up. And so,
good evening.
Good evening. This is Russ Stiver. How are we doing, sir?
Doing well. Except for, my landlord just decided to cut the yard 5 minutes after he started to ask me to come on.
Yeah. Hey, it happens, right? And
hey,
so,
I mean,
I'm gonna finish my thought before I get completely derailed, right? Because I can do that. Hey, Courtney, thank you for joining me. Being somebody that is profoundly who I am and very unforgiving and unapologetically myself, that's one thing that I've been able to really carry forward, and it has really benefited me quite a bit in my day-to-day interactions and in my general life, right? So I want to talk about tonight the importance of that self-identity, right? That importance of mentality when moving through the physical world and the spiritual, because I think we often apply a lot of care and protection. And, I joke with my wife all the time. Every time she goes on an investigation, she's got her pocket rocks, right? She's got her black rock that wards off evil spirits. She's got her white rock that keeps energy clean. And she's got all these different crystals. And I don't mean to say this in like a derogatory way. I just don't know the names. And they're
sounds like you're talking about quartz and obsidian.
No, it's not obsidian. It's something else. And then there's like aventurine, and no, it's not one of the easy ones, man. I'd know it if it was one of the easy ones. It's some
tourmaline.
Kim, that could be it. Kim, in the topic, you put the kinds of pocket rocks you carry.
Tourmaline.
Okay, different Kim, but okay.
Yep, different Kim. I mean, yeah, fair enough.
That's actually my cousin Kim, but she is confirming it's tourmaline.
Okay.
So we take all of this extraordinary energy and we take this an absurd amount of preparation, in my opinion, into these investigations. Yep, black taurine and selenite. Yep, Danny's got it. Those are the words. She has the words for me. But when we're going through our daily lives, right? When we're going our Monday through Friday, we don't take that much care. We don't put that much thought or energy into what we're letting in, how we're processing, how we're actually approaching our physical life when we spend all of this time, right, preparing ourselves for the metaphysical attacks of spirituality, and we ignore it on a day-to-day basis. And so I guess what I would like to do, if you're comfortable with it, Russ, for me, my armor, my Sunday through Sunday armor is I am me, right? And I know how I think. I know how I operate. I self-reflect pretty frequently. That's my armor. That's for investigations, for my day-to-day. I'd actually ask you, and maybe I'm kind of ambushing you here because in the chat, we have a Sunday chat with all the shows, and And everyone's like, well, what's Ian going to talk about? And I flat out told the group, I find out when it comes out of my mouth. I find out at the same time as everybody else in the room what I'm actually thinking. So, Russ, walk me through what you do as preparation for an investigation to make sure that your energy stays yours, you stay kind of protected, right?
I have my go-to. I have a necklace that has two medallions on it. One's a Saint Michael medallion, and one is also a Saint Benedict medallion.
Morning, Damien.
Morning, sir. Good to see you. So I consistently wear those. Those are like every time I go to investigation, that those are on before I leave the house. As far as getting to a location, I always ground myself prior to going into a location, just to kind of clear any sort of negative thought process maybe that I have, or anything like that, just to kind of get myself clear-headed on a level. I don't carry crystals, rocks, or stones on me on my everyday life because one, I don't think they would translate to my everyday job, but I'd be worried I'd end up throwing them at people.
Well, so, and I guess that's where I want to have the conversation, right? That like, do you think, and you can tell me to fuck off or stop this line of conversation at any point. You know that, like, I'm pretty easygoing when it comes to this kind of stuff. If you don't like where we're going, we'll change course. But do you think that if you did the grounding techniques, right, which to me is just like a form of meditation, right? Like that's informal meditation. If you were doing that in the morning and you were going through the same ritual routine of preserving your energy, right, and preserving the cleanliness of your energy, right,
yeah,
before you stepped out your front door, see, to me that would probably protect you from a lot of the negative thoughts and rabbit holes you drop down, right? So,
well,
or if you drop down, I don't want to assume that
no.
You did say you're going to throw pocket rocks at people. So,
well, I mean, they're good to have, but I mean, for me, like I shower every day before I go to work. I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, I kind of get woken up a little bit. I check, Facebook, I check everything I need to check. And then, I jump in the shower, I'll cleanse and I'll, ground myself in the shower before my work shift. So I have that already done for me. And there have been multiple times that I've actually at work have stepped outside and taken a minute and have grounded myself again and everything like that. But you can contest for this yourself as well, because when I came back from Gettysburg, I was almost a different person. Like I stopped taking shit from people. I was telling people exactly what was on my mind. I was unapologetically me, as you said earlier. And that's a person I haven't been in a very long time. And because I was always the pushover, I was always the one that I would roll over or you want to do this? Okay, fine, you can do this. I would just let it happen. But I don't know what clicked with me in Gettysburg when I was there, but it was one of those things that when I came home, my entire perception just changed. And I was just on the fact of like, I can't live how I used to live anymore. Like that I was digging myself into a hole that I couldn't climb myself out of because I was letting everyone take advantage of me. And instead of stepping up and saying, no, guess what? This isn't going to happen anymore. I would just let it happen. And now I'm just like, if something happens that I don't like, guess what? I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole see something, say something thing. It's for me, it's actually improved my work atmosphere quite a bit. I mean, you and I have had several conversations on the side about, certain things I have posted prior on social media and whatnot. But like I messaged you the other day and saying, hey, I'm taking your advice. I'm not going to post anything but positive about work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to post anything negative. And I really haven't. You know, I posted that, hey, I'm going in on my day off, but I mean, that's as a store manager, that's
Part of
my
the game.
job. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because if you can't find coverage, the store manager has to do the coverage. So, I mean, you can't just leave one person at the store. You have to have a manager there. So,
Yeah. I'm gonna bring the
there you
light up
go.
a little bit because it looks like my cheeks are melting off. Um, but no, so I guess that's really kind of where I kind of push a little bit, right? Like,
Yeah.
so before you know you're going to potentially come under attack, right? Like you're going into a very negative space, like let's
Yes.
say you're going into somewhere that's infamously known for negativity, right?
Yes.
You go above and beyond the shower, right? You go above and beyond the cleansing, you go above and beyond on the grounding. So
Honestly,
so to me, I think like the question there is like, dude, like you work retail, man. That's like that is I mean, that is Ghostbusters 2 nightmare territory, right? Like that is
that
where the toaster will fucking dance.
that's the battleground.
And so to me, I would think that maybe like taking a moment to guard yourself using some of those meditative techniques, using some of like, and again, actually somebody, my cousin, I actually think, yeah, she came up here and said, I don't use physical objects anymore for protection. I did years ago, but I've learned it's an energy thing. Don't need the physical objects. I'm actually of that school of thought as well, where it's like,
It's the manifestation thing.
yeah, like
You
it's
think
so,
positive, it's going to be positive.
yeah. And it's one of those things where like, to me, I think that they're an amazing tool to get that energy ramped up and to get you ramping up that energy, right? And you getting that kind of drive and that kind of wall, right? But once you understand it, right? And to me, it's all about understanding the external. That's like you've watched me navigate different social
Yes.
circumstances. Like there are things I can do and say that other people can't. Like, and it comes down from reading the room and knowing the energies around and like really getting an understanding of the why behind how so many people like so many different people act in so many different
Yes.
ways. And it's similar to how I look at like the supernatural, right? Like I am trying to figure out why things act a certain way more than caring about how they're acting.
Now, to circle back to a statement that you made or a question that you posed, you said, shouldn't I do something more to protect myself if I was going into a location that was notoriously or infamously known for negative
Well, not
energy
should,
or things like
not
that?
should, not should. I was asking you because you had said before you have different processes for when you're
Correct.
going on an investigation versus when you're waking up in the morning.
But a two-part answer to that is
Yeah.
one, just like our investigation tools that we have, whether it be a K2, a REM pod, a laser grid, or whatever, it's just like the manifestation. It only goes as far as you believe in it. If you're going to think, oh, this piece of shit doesn't work, then guess what? It's not going to work for you. You're not going to get
Right.
the results and everything. Same thing with the medallions and the crystals that people carry.
Okay.
You know, it goes as far as if you believe in it and you actually trust it and actually wholeheartedly believe in it, then it's going to work for you. And I don't know if you call that like a sense of false being or false
No,
protection.
I wouldn't call that. I wouldn't call it that at all. I would say, worst case scenario, that's probably a placebo effect. Best case scenario, it's belief-based empowerment.
Now, the second part to that is there anywhere really in the country, the world, anything like that, that is actually that
Malevolent,
bad? Yeah, that people are like, I'm not going in there.
in my
I mean,
opinion,
yeah,
no.
like I get people have had experiences at other places and things have happened to them at different locations and whatnot.
No,
But
no. So to me, this isn't Star Wars, man. There isn't like a place Luke Skywalker can go hang out because there's an evil dark side hole that will hide him. Like
yeah,
that to me is just not a thing. Energy
I
is
agree.
energy.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, a fundamental principle of the universe is energy is energy. it is neither negative or positive, right? And if you want to get down on like a super, super macro, we use the term negative electrons and things like that. But the reality is it has a positive yield. And so there is no direction energy can go without external application of intent.
Now, here's another question to pose to you. Do you believe in the whole theory of you were an asshole in life, so when you die, you're going to be an asshole in the afterlife?
No, I've actually gotten into this with Rob, Sarah, and Danny. We've talked about this. No, I don't. I think the idea, and this again comes to like knowing oneself. And this is why I don't think being an asshole in the afterlife is possible, is because if you genuinely know who you are, right? Like you have a very concrete concept of who you are, you know yourself in a way that's very intimate, very ugly at times, but very accurate and true. It's very difficult to be an asshole. And so to me, when you die, if you're transitioning to a state of perpetual energy, you've given up on the physical. Like your physical manifestation and everything of this world, right, falls away. And so too do the expectations, the delusions, the social pressures, the social anxieties, all of these different things that would historically cause resentment, anger, frustration, insecurity. These are all core aspects of anger and of hostility and being a dick, right? Like no one's a dick because they're happy and comfortable, right? Like
Sure.
people are assholes and people are dicks because
For a reason.
well, yeah, and it's usually things like insecurity, financial instability, frustration, aggravation, repetitive life failures, like all of these different things that are hyper specifically tied to the physical existence. So no, I don't think you carry that energy onto the next round.
I don't mean to interrupt you or anything. I'm just going to jump off screen. I'll still have my mic on and everything, but I'm getting a couple texts from work right now. So because I actually did get a day off for once.
Oh,
But
do you want
obviously not.
me to put you down for a second?
No,
and
no,
I'll
no.
just
Go
on
ahead.
a bit of
I'll
a-
keep up. I'll still hear and everything. I can still talk. I'm
Okay.
just going to respond to a text message. I don't want to like make it seem like I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
So that actually leads to another. We need to change that. Wow, I just said that out loud. But what leads to another question is, do you think these newer investigators that are coming into the world are feeling the pressure of that social dynamic, whether it be through social media, whether it be through having to go to all the haunted places in the country and, film everything? Do you think that's putting more pressure on them to succeed?
I'm not sure I understand the question as it pertains to what we're talking about. So let me
Well, because you had brought up that the social construct of like the social media and the social influences that people have and whatnot. Because if you're known for investigating and everything like that, is that putting more pressure on you to do more posts on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, things like that, where now instead of being an investigator, you're now just becoming an influencer, so to say?
I mean, I guess, but again, I think I this is the difficult thing, right? Like you and I have talked, right? Like about podcasts, like what we need to like,
Oh yeah,
what you would need to do, how you want to advertise it, how you want to actually present it, and things like that. I know me like really, really well, and I know what I want to do. I know what I'm comfortable with. And so I'm not catching, like personally, I don't catch those anxieties, right? Like I don't feel like I need to produce content all the time. I don't feel like I need to be somewhere or have something going 100% of the time. I know I really enjoy what I'm doing right now. And so I don't get impacted by external pressures, right? So if somebody came up to me and was like, "Oh, I want, get moderated merch, or I want, to see more of your show, or you should do more of this, you should do more of that." I don't think I'd care. Like, I don't think I could be pressured into feeling like, I don't feel like I could be pressured into feeling like I needed to do stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's just not, to me, it's not a thing.
I I can see where you're coming from with that, and my show's
And
been
we are
on.
back on Get Haunted, baby.
Yes, we are.
All right.
Wow, it's been a while since I've seen y'all.
Yeah.
But no, like my Cubs Curiosities has been around for a little bit longer than Get Moderated.
Yeah. No, significantly, I believe.
So it feels like when people are asking about like t-shirts and things like that, I kind of feel the pressure, I guess, in a way, to make sure I'm posting at least 4 days on Instagram or Facebook who my guest is for the next upcoming show, to kind of generate,
Oh, God.
you
I don't
know.
even know who my guest is for my next show. Like,
I know I
wow.
literally looked at Nicole and I was like, well, Ian doesn't have a guest, so I'm going on.
No, I honestly, this is a conversation I actually wanted to have with you here.
Oh, Icy's in the room.
Hey, Icy, how we doing?
I got to give a big shout out to Icy for following the Compass page on TikTok, or not TikTok, excuse me, Instagram. Wow, I don't even have a TikTok. But yeah, got to give her a huge shout out for that. Or they, I'm not sure. I believe it's a her. It just feels like, because I do have a following for Compass Curiosities.
Thank you, Denise. Solidarity, baby.
Hey, I'm there too. I've done the same thing before, Denise. Okay, thank you. I didn't want to offend anybody, I see. Thank you. But I've fired my wife from, because my Instagram account for Compass, Nicole has access to it. And I keep telling her, I'm like, okay, I'll send you to the graphic for who's going to be on the show. Can you post it at least 3 days, 4 days before the show airs?
Yeah.
And there have been a couple times I've caught her slipping up, and the one time I actually just looked at her. I'm like, "You're fired." Like, you like,
we're gonna pump the brake. We're gonna pump the brakes, because I need you to change the language on this. So you didn't fire your wife. You took back responsibility.
I relieved her of her duties.
You took back your responsibilities for your podcast.
Well, she had volunteered.
You caught her getting too overwhelmed by everything else in her own life and her own responsibilities.
True.
To do that for you. I'm just trying to help your marriage right now, man. Just trying to help the marriage. That's all.
Oh, no. She's not even listening. Trust me.
Oh,
she walked out of the room.
Trust me, Nicole's listening to my voice. So
she walked out of the room and into the bedroom and said, "Have a good show, boys."
Oh, geez.
She's in there watching something. God only knows.
Okay, I got to apologize here to Sarah.
Go for it. Uh-oh. What do you got to apologize to Mom for?
Well, she feels bad that we weren't on the Get Haunted network, and she apologized. And I told her that there's zero reason for her to apologize. It was the fact that I didn't log into StreamYard until 20 minutes before my show. That was the problem. I could have noticed it yesterday or the day before, but I didn't. But because I am the consummate professional that I am, I logged in 20 minutes before my show. But I will say this, like, with the constant posting and the constant need to be a content creator versus a podcaster or an investigator or whatever it is, whatever title you want to label yourself with, which first and foremost, I would say is like something you probably shouldn't be doing in the first place. But I think when you know what it is you're actually looking to create, and you know what it is you're trying to deliver, it makes things so much easier. You don't feel those outside pressures. You don't feel those anxieties, which those anxieties then feed into your energy. And then you're opening yourself up to more negativity. And then you're being a dick because you have frustrations, resentments, anger, and all these other things that are tied up with phrasing like I caught her slipping up or I fired her, right? Like those are indicators that there's an emotional deregulation against what actually happened, right? Because if I were to tell you I haven't posted to my Instagram in 3 years, does that bother you?
No.
Okay. If I tell you that I haven't posted to your Instagram in the past 3 years, does that bother you?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm lucky to even have a Facebook.
Well, so here's my deal, right? Here's my question. So why do you think it matters?
It's to promote the show. And Ian, you know what the situation was I was going through.
Yeah. We'll gloss over that.
Yeah, we're just gonna skip right over that one.
Yeah.
But you know, I wanted to make Compass my own standalone. Like, I want to make it as its own entity, and that comes with promotion and you know, self promotion, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but I gotta call bullshit on that, man. We're part of the Get Haunted network, right? We're streaming on our own setups too, right?
Yes.
So we're in a promotional network already, right?
Yes, sir.
So I guess this is where I get confused.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have to rely on Get Haunted.
It's coming from a place of ignorance, right?
Okay.
So, you know, you saw my peak numbers on the last viewing update.
Yes.
Right? That's peak. That's like,
well, you're going to get even lower now. So, cause I'm on, don't worry.
I'm more than confident about that.
Yeah.
So, well, not because of you, but because that show is just going to be the kind of the apex here. It has nothing to do with you. I just, to me, I like coming on here. I like sharing experiences. I like having conversations with people. I love expressing different ideas and opinions and learning from other people. And like, really, like, I love this whole side chat and the different things folks are adding and contributing to the conversation. Although it has been very AB, we haven't engaged too much about what was being said on the side. But to me, that's the point, right? Like, that's why I'm doing it, right? Like, to get that stuff out there. And like, would it be cool if I could make a buck off it? Yeah, that'd be awesome. To turn a little bit of profit on it, it'd be great. And yes, I am considering making get moderated merch, which I think is going to be friggin' hilarious because I am terrible at pricing things. And so,
shirt's $10 the print. You can buy it for $7.99.
Yeah, right. And shipping included. And
free shipping with the purchase of 2 shirts.
Yeah, right. So my big thing is, like, if I'm doing it for my reasons, right? Why do I give a shit what the external pressures are? Right? If I'm able to clearly define mine. But this goes back to the whole, I think, crux of my conversation, right? Like, when I talk about guarding ourselves and when I talk about making sure that you have that hard sense of self, right? And that hard and like very unapologetic version of what's in your head, it to me becomes a lot easier to live this whole scenario on your own terms. And so I don't know what this smug ass smile.
I'm sorry. I just got a text from my boss. So side note for work and everything like that. Anybody out there, and pretty much I'm sure everybody out there knows, I'm store manager for Spirit Halloween. I actually fully got a day off today. So to see that my management team and my associates, even when I'm not there, are still killing it every day in and out. I just got the final numbers for the day. We were 115.29% over our sales plan for the day.
Nice. Good to hear.
So I'm very, very happy about that. So it's good to know everything's still functioning when I'm not at the store, because I'm one of those very hands-on kind of people and I feel like I have to be involved with it. And I don't know if that's because of self, I don't want to say gratification, but like I'm not a very controlling person, but it feels like if I don't do it, it's not going to get done kind of thing. So, hey, Binky. Binky shows up to my Compass show all the time. So
That's awesome.
But no, that's a good little side note to end the day on. So I'm happy about that. But no, I mean, it's one of those things where, you said that, you've thought about monetizing, get moderated and everything like that. I've been thinking the same thing for Compass, and it's not because I'm some big name out in the field or podcasting. I do podcasting because I love, like you, I love to talk to people. I love, to have conversations and, you know, just interact with people. Would you think I would be burnt out on, especially doing a Sunday and Monday show and then working retail? You think I'd be burnt out on it? But, it's one of those things where I just continue to do it and I love to do it.
Okay.
Monetizing it is literally in the back of my mind right now. But it's like, two of my very near and dear friends, Sarah and Rob, told me from the beginning, don't look at numbers. Don't look at your numbers for your show. Don't look at, the amount of viewers you have live, because that's just going to get into your head and it's going to reflect in your entire show. And they're very true. And I've changed that whole mentality of it where I don't look at the number. Yeah, it's good to see the numbers, but it's always a fact of like the people that matter are listening.
Well, I think, and again, so this is where I think I'm going to double down on what they're saying, where it doesn't matter who's listening. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, like, we know why we're doing it, right? And the only way that we can guard ourselves from the negative experience, right, and the negative thoughts and the negative reactions of looking at numbers and like thinking like, oh man, I had an absolute banger of a show today. And then it's like, oh, 4 people watched, right? Like, there's 2 ways of looking at, right?
Yes.
Your first way is to kind of do what everybody would do, like what the normal reaction would be, which is like, I was wrong. It wasn't a banger of a show. Only 4 people watched. I suck at this. I'm trash and I'm done. Right?
That's and then you get into your own head, and
95% of people that's the response, right? Because there's an attachment of self being defined by social construct and social expectations. And so,
just like Sarah just said in the chat room, did you touch a person's life? Then if you did an amazing job.
Yeah, I mean, I touch people all the time and I do an amazing job. And so they're lives. And so, but the truth is, right, when I have what I think is a banger of a show and I have no people watching, I don't care, because I still had a fucking banger of a show.
You had a great time.
I had a great guest. I had a shitload of fun. And you know what? It was for me. And so that gives me energy for the next episode and the next conversation, because I loved what I did. And I don't care who's here to love it with me, although I do appreciate everybody that's along for the ride. And I do love that everyone's here and they, for whatever reason, enjoy the sound of my voice or the nonsense that comes out of my mouth. But the truth is, we have 2 ways of looking at that same exact scenario. And I feel like we don't take enough time to put that positive energy out there, to guard our own energy on the day-to-day from the non-metaphysical, and actually start dealing with the emotional, mental, and physical side of our lives, right? So we're a 3-part being, right?
Yep.
Have you heard this theory, the whole 3-part being?
I believe I have. It has been a while.
We're in a spirit. We are a spiritual entity occupying a cognitive processing unit, riding a meat suit. Right. So
I mean, that would make sense.
But this is what it is, right? So we're a spiritual, we're a mind, and we're a body, right? And so, oh, look at that. Amazing compliments on both our shows. We are seen and heard. Oh, we're inspiring others. That's
Now
a
here,
double-edged sword for
yeah.
me. What am I inspiring them to do? Uh, so, but the idea goes back to, again, energy can't have a direction without external intent.
Now, here's a
So
question I'll pose to you as well. And I know I've been asking you a lot of questions, and we're pretty much just co-host on this show right now, just going back and forth about random bullshit.
yeah,
Now, do you think you podcasting on Sunday nights helps your mental state a little bit? Being able to get on and just bullshit with somebody and just kind of put life out of your mind for an hour or so.
I no, but I'm also going to say it doesn't hurt my mental health either. Like, it's not one or the other, right? Like, this to me is another experience that I'm having throughout my week. I look at things, and again, like, my brain just doesn't work like normal people. There's a lot broken up there.
No.
But to me, I enjoy almost every aspect that I can of the day to day, right? So, like, is it better than when my son is screaming in my ear and kicking the car seat or being complete? Yeah, it's better than that, right? That damages my mental health sometimes. Is it better than when my son very specifically asks for me to put him to bed? No, that helps my mental health, right? Like, the fact that he wants
You're
and desires
wanted.
my attention at a very, very important time for him during the evening. That
Yes.
to me is one of the greatest things. This is kind of one of those moments of expression that is neither positive or negative because it's a moment of vulnerability. So it's not a situation that I have plus or minus on, right? Like,
Okay.
it's to me, it's more of an expression to give plus or minus out there than in here. And so, like, yeah, no, but I could see how this would absolutely be like a stress reliever or like a mental health break for folks. Like, my biggest mental health break, honestly, like, is evenings like at Gettysburg, where like I can just go start a fire, drink a beer, and just absolutely cut loose with a bunch of people and just laugh and joke and everything like that. I think
Cut down a
this is
tree.
yeah, well, I didn't cut anything down. I might have knocked a couple down and dragged them out of the woods, but none of them were cut. But like,
I wasn't
to
talking about
me,
Gettysburg. I was talking about your place.
oh yeah, 11:30 at night with a chainsaw cutting down a tree.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, those which are, I think, a far more extreme version of a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Um, that that's what releases me, right? That's what it brings me out, and what kind of gives me some recovery time. Is a full, unadulterated expression of self.
Yeah. Now, I do gotta say, Sarah just commented that she's returning from a working weekend. I'm pretty sure she was actually out at ISS with
Yep.
Rob this past weekend. So I hope you
Mhm.
guys had a fantastic time out there. I've been seeing pictures of it. It looked absolutely amazing. Wish I could be there. Eventually, one of these days, I'll get out to like Madison ISS, Fairfield, all those places. So, and I'll probably bring Mr. Get Moderated here with me because I know I'll have a little bit less of a I wouldn't say babysitting because you already have enough people doing that for you.
Yeah, I mean, I got reporters in the field, so
Yeah. So I mean,
a lot
you're
of
a hot
action
commodity
stuff.
these days,
Uh,
but you know, at least I know we'll be around people that are like-minded like you. We'll be around Sarah and Rob and Trevor and all them and whatnot. And they,
well,
they
again,
know your personality.
I think that's also one of the things that I think a lot of people pick up on very early with me is, it truly is like a easy to like, hard to love. You know, 1 in 10 people outright can't be around me. Like, that's just how it is. But the majority of people, there's very little confusion on my authenticity.
And
And I
I
think
will
that's
say
what,
this, and it was one thing that really surprised me is I want to say it was Saturday morning. I woke up and I came down to the front of the hotel and I was just sitting out there having my coffee, smoking a cigarette.
yep.
And the amount of people that came outside and like looked over and saw me and they're like, Your friend you brought with you." And I was like, "Oh shit, here we go." And I was like, "Ian." They're like, "Yeah, Ian.
Yeah.
He was a hell of a good time." And I was like, "Oh, thank Christ."
Well, it's, look, I'm not I'm not traveling through this life to make enemies, right?
No.
Now don't get me wrong, if I accidentally make one here and there, I'm really not stressing about it. Which I did. I think I made two down in Gettysburg. Yeah, for a good, you know it. You know it. No, I made two, and honestly, one of them I need to own a little bit because I could have navigated the circumstance a little bit better. Um, I decided to do something that I don't often do anymore because I've matured past it. It is definitely one of my more preternatural gifts. And that caused an incredibly uncomfortable moment for somebody in a very public setting. And I had no right to do it. No matter how I felt, no matter what was said to me prior. I let someone's words negatively impact my emotions, which is not often a thing that I do. More often than not, people's actions are the things that set me off. Yeah, Damien. Yeah, no, I said I've matured past it. I didn't say I was mature. It's
He
I
grew from
crossed like
that
a very small
situation, just
hurdle.
not the yeah, he grew from the situation, not the
Yeah,
anything
I mean,
else.
so one of the things because of just the way my brain works and the way that whatever blessings I've been given in my life, I'm very fast at reading a room and very fast at reading individuals. And damn if I don't know how to make them uncomfortable incredibly fast. And I can either do the playful, haha, it's funny, uncomfortable, or the like double booking the shrink by Monday uncomfortable.
Are you double booking because you think one's gonna quit on you?
Well, yeah,
Because
I need to talk to two separate people about this. And so I, in a less than mature moment,
did
uh,
something.
did something that earned an enemy.
I mean,
Um,
it is
but
what it is.
but you know what? I have no ill will towards that person. I have, we had our little tiff, um, and I'm past it, and I fully
Well,
understand that there was a lot more emotional experience on the other side of the
I wouldn't
exchange.
see an olive branch being extended your way anytime soon. That's for sure.
No, and I wouldn't expect it. I accept and earn what I did there. But
Did I miss out? Did I miss out in the beginning of all the WPPS events and everything? I'm sure you
yeah,
pushed all those already. Okay.
yep,
All right. I
yeah.
wasn't
That's why
sure.
sitting here on the backstage.
I can't see. I'm just a guest, so I can't see anything.
Oh, that's fair. But no, so
Hey, Bonnie.
that whole experience, I think, especially given some of like the drama circulating the different groups and things like that, like me being very advertising about which organizations I was with and
You were a
support.
walking billboard.
Um, for most people to not care about that, right, and to kind of see past that and really have that experience and hang out and get to know me as an individual, I think speaks volumes of the type of environment that I was trying to create that other people wanted to engage in.
Yes.
And so that again, I think is all encompassing too, where I have a very clean identity. I have a very clean sense of self-worth, self-value. There are definitely areas that I'm still working on and trying to develop and really kind of button up in my own, because there's absolutely aspects of my life that I do not have the ability to kind of have that positive or at least neutral perspective on. And so it is a conscious effort in some areas to like really drive home, like, hey, no, man, like you are operating in an area that you are not bulletproof in, you need to really think about this, really dive deep, and really reflect on how you're reacting and determine if you're reacting based on external intent or internal intent.
Yeah.
And so, to go back 31 minutes, preparing yourself for those external experiences in our physical life and our mental and emotional lives, I think it's really, really important that we take that minute to guard ourselves and protect ourselves.
Of course,
Right.
100%.
And so having that mentality is going to really allow us to act and operate in a positive way. That, to go back to episode 1 of Get Moderated, and I think we're on episode 8. So episode 1 was sometime around 13 months ago, because I put on a weekly podcast. The amount of ability to impact the universe around us and the world around us, whether it through vibrations or actual manifestation of physical results, right? How can we expect to manifest positivity, right? And manifest positive outcomes from ourselves if we are constantly on a state of defense or reaction from negative energies impacting us? And I think the only way to get off of the defensive and to get off of the reactive is to truly be so proactive that you're bulletproof in that area. Like, knowing, this is a perfect example, right? The amount of homoerotic jokes that happen among very straight, comfortable men is off the charts. When you're in a room full of people, just in general, really, male, female, doesn't matter, who are completely comfortable with their sexual identity, the amount of jokes, or like, not to make fun of, it's not like mocking of, but like, yeah, we'll touch tips. Like those kind of like playful homoerotic jokes happen so frequently because people are so comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Because they know themselves so well. There can be things like someone could walk up to me and be like, "Hey, you're gay." And I'd be like, you know what? Maybe today I am.
Maybe.
Are you offering? Is there something here that do we need to explore it?
I got a lap dance from Michael Myers at Gettysburg.
Yeah. And so that to me is an expression of really confirmed self, right? There's no sense of like, oh, if I say something or I act a certain way. Yeah. Hey, Sean, here we go.
There he is.
Speaking of homoerotic. But when you are that comfortable with yourself and you're really that comfortable with your identity, I think that you have that freedom to completely disregard any negativity that might come your way from that avenue, right?
Of course.
So, like, just right there, like Sean, like, he knows where he stands. But when I say, speaking of homoerotic, it slides right off. It doesn't matter,
No.
And so when you're in other aspects of your life, whether it's work, right? Like work competency, when you're at the top of your game at work and you're doing everything you can and that you're performing at a high level, it's really hard for management or subordinates to come at you for things you're already doing, because you have that confidence, you have that kind of armor to turn around and say like, that's not an inroad to make me insecure. Like, I already know I'm there.
No.
And so when we know we're going out and we know we're going to be experiencing these things, preparing ourselves for it and really gearing ourselves up to be the best versions of ourselves with positivity and really be that output of positivity, you end up reaping so much more. And I mean, I'm speaking from personal experience here. Like, you end up reaping a wildly different bounty out of your life, whether it's your personal relationships, your professional relationships, your familial relationships, when you have the ability to really know who you are, set clean boundaries, and move forward with positivity, and to like really shed a lot of the external negative bullshit that people are trying to feed you all the time, you're able to influence your world in a completely different way.
And you know what? I think that's something that not a lot of people do is they don't set boundaries.
Yeah.
They allow people to come in and walk all over them, and they allow it to happen because that happened to me. I didn't have any boundaries set, but the minute I put down those boundaries, I became an asshole.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I'm not going to let this happen anymore to me. So it's one of those things where I just I set my clear boundaries.
But I think it's really important, and when setting boundaries, like whether you're going into an investigation or you're going into your Monday, right? That when you set that boundary, you make sure, and this is just me speaking, I'm not a psychological professional, although I am psychological. Making sure that those boundaries being set are coming from a healthy place of like, hey, this is what I'm not comfortable with. This is what I'm not going to tolerate because this negatively impacts me. Instead of what I think is a very immature way of setting boundaries is, no, I don't like this, and I'm going to hate everybody that does this. And so making sure that it's not almost like, again, I deal with a 6-year-old, if you couldn't tell from my language. I deal with a 6-year-old pretty frequently, right? And we talk about setting boundaries. And there are times where he's like, oh, you hurt my feelings. And it's like, all right, cool. What did I do? You told me I had to go to bed. And it's like, all right, dude, that is not a healthy boundary.
No.
That is not hurt feelings. That is disappointment. And now you're pitching a fit over disappointment, which isn't okay. There are other times where he says like, hey, you hurt my feelings because, you didn't play with me in this game. And I felt like you were ignoring me. That is hurt feelings.
Yes.
Right. And that's setting a clear boundary where it's like, hey, if I ask you to play a game, it's because I'm trying to engage with you emotionally and physically to like actually have your attention.
And I want you to be involved in this.
Exactly. And so when you refuse or you become like aggravated by the constant requests, you hurt my feelings. And so now me as the receiver of that message am able to action it a lot better. Whereas like, you hurt my feelings by telling me to go to bed. That's some bullshit. I don't respond well to that because that is not a healthy boundary.
No.
Like that's something that's going to happen every night. Sorry, bud. That's the reality of it. And so I think it's really important that as we set these boundaries, we're doing it from a place of self-love, not external hate, right? So, and there's a clear division between that. And if you really dwell on it and think about it out there, just take that moment, like as you're setting your boundaries, remember that there's a big difference between setting a boundary because of personal love and personal care, like self-love, self-care, and external hate, right?
Yeah.
So just making sure that we're doing this the right way and we're identifying ourselves and we're really getting to know ourselves so that we can put that positivity out there before setting that boundary.
So, well, I know there's another show coming up here right after yours. I believe Denise and Ernie are doing their show tonight.
Denise and Ernie are live tonight, I do believe.
Okay, I believe they're at. Are they at 7 or 8? I believe they're at 8.
I think they're 8. Whoever was on after me, I think moved.
Okay.
Because I don't know, maybe I talked too long.
No, I just want to plug an event I'm going to be at on the 21st of September.
Oh hell yeah! Do you have an image or graphic I can throw up? What is it?
I do not. It's the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention 2024 at the Mayflower Brewing Company in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Haunts and Hops?
Hometown Haunts and Hops. If you can grab that, I'll kind of describe it a little bit. It's a one-day event. It's going to start at 1 p.m. at the Mayflower Brewing Company in Plymouth. Tickets are $25 a piece. John Kassir is going to be there, who, if no one knows who John Kassir is, he is the Crypt Keeper.
Did you hear that got stolen?
Really?
The original Crypt Keeper puppet? Yeah.
No kidding. Okay. So not only are they going to have John Kassir there, they're also going to have multiple podcast hosts. They're going to have vendors there. it's a cool little event to do on a Saturday. You know, like I said, $25 a ticket. They're gonna have what I'm excited for. They're gonna have the Ecto One there from Ghostbusters. They're also gonna have a Raccoon City police car from Resident Evil.
That's pretty cool.
And somehow I don't know how they got this on their hands on this, but they are actually having the actual 1990 Tim Curry screen used It costume.
Yeah.
So how they
Damn.
got their hands on this, I don't know. But if I walk into that room alone, I'm going to be Nicolas Cage from National Treasure stealing it.
That's crazy.
So it'll be a good time, a nice little fun thing to do. You know, it's at a brewery, so you're able to kick back, have a good time, see all the vendors, talk to everybody. I'll have a table there promoting Compass Curiosities, Unturned Pages, Get Haunted, as well as Warner Paranormal Preservation Society about all the upcoming events that we have coming up. And that's going to be the expo as well as Escape the Hall and everything like that. So if you're in the area, definitely check it out, guys.
And so again, yeah, actually, if I don't plug the Escape the Hall, I might get into a little bit of trouble here. So let's
Yeah, you probably should do that.
Let's go up here at the East Coast Parrot Expo.
Very excited for this one this year.
Whoever built this webpage is amazing.
I may know a guy.
I know. So we got Escape the Hall coming up October 5th from 7 to 9:30. And I actually believe we are half sold out already. So
that's absolutely amazing.
Yep. Get your tickets at warnerparanormal.com/upcoming events. You can check out what we have going on. We also have our monthly mediumship with Julie, who, again, last name, not going to pronounce.
Nope. I call her Julie Rose.
Coming up September 5th from 6:30 to 8. Outside of that, guys, I appreciate you coming with us on this ride. It is the bottom of the hour here, so we are going to hop off. Thank you so much for joining us, watching us ramble and rant. We love you out there. Stay blessed. And Russ, do you have a sign off?
Listen to my show on Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Compass Curiosities. Where I'm going to be full head of steam with that one. Also, I'm on a show on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, Unturned Pages with co-host Jenny Davis. So catch us on either one of those. And as
who's
always,
going to be your guest on Compass?
I have not booked one yet, but I think I actually have one. I'm not doing one tomorrow because I'm taking the day off to do some other stuff.
I was going to say it's going to be a real bitch posting that 4 times before tomorrow.
No. I'm taking the day off tomorrow to kind of do some stuff with work and get things in order with that. But next week, I believe I actually have the volunteers from the Oliver House right here in Middleborough, Massachusetts, coming on and talking about their experiences as well as why they keep coming back, what got them involved with being a volunteer and things like that. So
very, very cool. So I love it. Hope get one soon. All right. Well, Laura, thank you. Thank you all again for joining us on this silly little run. We appreciate you tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great night.